I have felt I really needed to be on top of my game as a carer, and to do that, I couldn't be an exhausted, mental wreck of a person. I really needed to be as well as I could be, as resilient as I could be, and then I think that's absolutely how you can then be your best as a carer. Hi, my name is Kylie. I care for my husband who had a stroke about 2.5 years ago. And during that time, because of the COVID restrictions, he was only allowed to have one visitor for 1 hour on each day. So that gave me 23 hours of the day to worry about things, so it was great to be working during that time actually. So after my husband was discharged from the hospital, he'd spent 5 weeks in rehab, and I really felt unprepared for the new challenges of looking after a person 24/7, and not having had biological kids of my own, I wasn't used to someone being totally dependent on me, and I was really nervous about his overall medical condition. So I worried about everything. If he had a headache, did we need to go to the hospital? How to navigate a wheelchair in and out of the car, through the garage, around the house, and then just even, laying awake at night worrying about whether he was still breathing. So there were lots of challenges that I've never experienced before. It was really hard for my friends and family to understand what I was going through. Given it was during COVID, they couldn't come to visit myself, and they couldn't come and visit my husband either. So no one really had a sense of how bad it was, and normally that kind of event you would have your friends and family around you physically as well. So it was hard to explain, and things did really change on a day-by-day basis. So the first few days were very acute and very worrying, and then moving through the rehab phase. So no one really had a sense of what he looked like, what he was going through, how he was feeling, or how I was feeling either. I think you first start to hear the term carer quite early on in the hospital, because everybody's explaining to you, a bit about what's happened and then what you might need to do next, and people start to refer to you as the person's carer. And so that was when I first heard it. Hearing the term of carer, I couldn't really relate that to myself. I didn't think I was at that stage of my life or age to be thought of as a carer. And certainly with everything that happened so suddenly, I didn't expect that was going to become my role in a longer term sense. And it's a term that doesn't sit really well with me, because especially in terms of my husband, because I didn't think that we would be in that kind of relationship at this stage of our lives. So I first heard about Carer Gateway on the TV and the radio, but I didn't feel the need to contact anyone at that stage, because I was still really focused on my husband as the person who was going through the event, and I didn't think I needed any help as a carer. So it was probably about 18 months in where I thought, I really need some help myself, and first rang about the possibility of respite care, just to have a bit of a break and take some time out. So that was when I first made contact with Carer Gateway. I reached out to Carer Gateway and was put onto Alfred Healthcare Services. And it was at a stage when I was past needing physical supports in the home around rehab equipment and safety equipment, and really looking for some wellbeing support for myself. And so I was put into the carer wellbeing coaching service, which was really fantastic for me. Going into the first session of coaching, I was again expecting people to focus on more of the practical aspects of being a carer. But it was so great to just then hear more about support for me, for my mental well-being as a carer. So I was speaking to the coach and just saying, I would love to just have one day when we don't actually talk about my husband's stroke. I felt like there was no way of getting away from that on any given day. And she talked about ways that we might do that. But in between times, I'd thought about, well, he doesn't get to have one day off from having had a stroke. And so she just helped me to think more deeply around the things that I felt. And it was never a problem to just say things that I might be scared to say in front of him. I never wanted to make him feel bad about or to worry about how I felt. My coach identified that I started to have a real passion for being an advocate for carers and being an advocate for people who had survived stroke. So she noticed, even on the phone, just how differently my tone of voice and my enthusiasm was when I spoke about doing that kind of work, which I'd been doing in my spare time, compared to just talking about my day job or my daily life. She really picked up on that spark of enthusiasm, and I think that's made a massive change, because that's what I spend a lot of my spare time doing now, is looking after or doing work for the Stroke Foundation and doing work related to carers. So yeah, she really helped me plan that out. So I think one of my goals during coaching was just to feel more level, and more stable in between times. So I was really subject to a lot of mood swings and worry and anxiety and frustration and grief and all of the things that you feel when you have a life-changing event like that. So she was able to help me work through those feelings and help me understand what was okay and help me express them in ways that were really helpful to me. So there was often, a plan or some homework to do between times, and that was really great. And that was what I was hoping to get out of it, was really some support for my own mental well-being. It sounds very cliched, but you definitely get a new lease or new look at life when something like this happens. We have definitely found ways to laugh about something every day, whether it's something that one of his rehab treatment professionals said, or noticing new moves, that he could do. We have a lot of laughs around his efforts in unpacking the dishwasher. There's a lot of things that I would have been cranky about in the past, like, why don't you just unpack the dishwasher? And now he's doing that in a way where just don't break anything as you try to unpack the dishwasher with one hand. So we found a lot of silver linings, and I found that I had strength that I didn't know I had. I had much more resilience than I thought I could have managed. I have a really sort of pretty big, intense day job, and I thought that having this much to worry about outside my day job would just be too much, and as it turns out, it wasn't. So I'm proud of both of us for getting through to where we are now. So for carers who might watch this video, hopefully you found this video because you're out having a look to find what might help you. I wish I'd looked a year earlier. I wish I'd thought about my own mental health and well-being from day one, or maybe not day one, but maybe, month one or month two, because the benefit that I got from reaching out, talking to other carers, being coached by someone who knew the journey I was going through was massive. So yeah, I wish I'd done it earlier. So it would be like, find your people as early as you can. I think it's important for carers to reach out for help in that same way they talk about on an aircraft, where they say, fix your mask before you help someone else. I think I have felt I really needed to be on top of my game as a carer, and to do that, I couldn't be an exhausted, mental wreck of a person. I really needed to be as well as I could be, as resilient as I could be, and then I think that's absolutely how you can then be your best as a carer.